Hello and welcome to BierTier, the German engineer. Today we are back with episode 34 of our current Let's Play series, and this is of course oxygen not included. Yes, we are back over here on Ughista, and Jemsterr right here, yes, he's still going strong. But yes, we need to take care of a bunch of things over here, and mainly that is of course a proper power supply. So let's get started with that. And here we are. Yes, hidden on top of this neutronium right here is a natural gas geyser. And that is of course exactly what we want to get into. So let's dig all the way over here. Yes, 4 high, something like this you should do. Let's plop in some walls. What would be the best way of doing this? We could do probably something just like this here. Yes, we don't have those skills, but that is okay. Actually, we do have the skills. Jemsterr is just not here right now, so that is perfectly fine. We can just come all the way through here and then along there. That should get the job done just fine. We can come all the way over to our ladder, 2 more right here, and then right here we can close it off when we're done. But first we need to get in here. So Jemsterr, let's come by and let's get this here done. But that is not all. Right underneath here we need a 3 high space right there, and then we need to come over. And a total of 4, and then right here we're gonna come back up to the neutronium. Of course we can't do this without actually leaving some space here, and without coming further down with our ladder. Here we have some chlorine, but I'm not worried about that at all. First of all, we gotta dig all of this here out, build all of these tiles here, and then we can keep on going. Since Jemsterr is now all by himself over on Ughista, we should probably send him a couple of friends. Yes, and those friends are not dupes, but rovers. Rovers cannot do a hell of a lot of things, but they can do the basics, and that is exactly what we need. So, this rocket right here, we're going to change the crew. Anybody is fine, for example Krivak right here. Then we're going to change the destination and plop it into orbit. And at that point we can go ahead and begin the launch sequence. So, Krivak should come by, hop into the rocket, we lift off, we bring him back down here, and then we send our rocket with our rovers off to Ughista. And now right here on the space map we can see it, Krivak made it, therefore we can now select Krivak in the Trailblazer module and deploy him back onto the planet. Something like this here should get the job done. And then we play the game, and he is gone. Now we change the destination, and somewhere over here will also do. As soon as our rocket arrives, 2 more rovers will come down and help out Jemsterr, and that will certainly make him happy. And of course, Krivak is back as well. Meanwhile, over here on Ingenium, yes, let's take a look here. I just realized we are almost out of salt water. Yes, we have finally done it. Almost the entire tank here is empty. And if you remember, several hundred cycles ago or tens of episodes ago, we were all the way here to the top. And honestly, yeah, I don't want to get rid of it because we have more than enough salt water. For example, right here, all the way over here on the left, and also all the way over here on the right. There's plenty of salt water to go around, there's absolutely no question. So, let's take a look what we can do. And I'm thinking about this area right here. So, in plumbing, we are going to grab us a filtered liquid pump. The filtered part here is important, so yeah, we cannot really omit that. And then we're gonna come by here with some dupes and we're gonna dig all this stuff here out. All of this here goes so that I can actually come over here and build this. But what that should look like in the end, let's see here. Insulated liquid pipe. And with that insulated liquid pipe, we are probably doing something like this here, because what we can do is we can always come in here and dig up a few tiles, something like this here, and plop in some ladders so the dupes can walk around so they can build this here. Eventually, this here will be one straight line, so all this here will go, and the dupe should be able to reach all of this here. Actually, let's make it one lower just because we can, so the dupes can definitely do it. But now with our insulated liquid pipe, we will keep on going, and probably what we're gonna do is we're just gonna come all the way along here, straight across there, straight across here, and then last but not least, we're gonna come up here and over to there. Something just as simple as this here. And of course, liquid bridges all over the place here, here, and there. Just as simple as that. And then we're gonna set this thing here to salt water, and we're just gonna let it run. And for the power supply, of course, heavy water wire, we have it right here, so we might as well utilize it. And therefore, we're gonna come all the way over here as well. The dupes can enter from this direction, no problem whatsoever. So it should be just as simple as that. But we will see what this here looks like when we're done. Meanwhile on Abundino, yes, down here, our iron volcano Tamer is also coming along slowly but steadily, and you can see it. I have plopped in insulated tiles all around here, yes, all along the outsides here, because that is in an effort to try to keep in some heat. So first we need to build this outer wall, then we need to get rid of all the ice, and then we hopefully can generate some heat in here, and then we can start that thing up. And now right here, just a couple of cycles later, we can see it. The first salt water is making its way through our pipes. And if we remember, we are getting 10 kilograms per second from one pump. And down here on the bottom, this liquid valve right here is set to 3000 grams per second, so 3 kilograms, which means we are getting 7 kilograms more into our tank than we are taking out at any given time. But that is not all. Over here on the right side where we have our cobalt volcano Tamer, right here we have a hell of a lot of salt water, and you can see it. I put in another liquid pump, and of course the piping is also soon to follow along here. And yes, right here we have a second liquid vent. We are going to fill this tank here back up in absolutely no time. And here we have our hydro sensor, and I'm gonna set our hydro sensor to send a green signal if below 500 kilograms, which means our tank should never be able to overflow. So let's wait until our second pump comes online, and we will see our salt water level rise in no time. Meanwhile, back here on Ughista, yes, a hell of a lot has happened. You can see it. I rebuilt the entrance here, and I plopped in an infinite storage that doesn't have any fluid in it yet, but we will get to that point here shortly. No problem at all. And yes, let's take a look onto our star map, and sure enough, yes, our two rovers are here. So let's bring both of them down simultaneously, and as soon as that has happened, yep, should have happened right now, we can change the destination and send our rocket back home. Your purpose here is fulfilled. And look at this here, Rover 1 and Rover 2 are here, which means Jemsterr now has new friends that can help him out with a lot of mundane tasks that he shouldn't have to do himself. For example, we need some clean water over here. So let's take care of that real quick. In refinement, we are going to grab us a water sieve, and we're gonna plop the water sieve. Yeah, how are we gonna do this? Probably, you know what, let's make it as simple as possible. We're gonna plop it right there. And then we're gonna go into plumbing. We're gonna grab us where is my liquid pump? Right here. And we're gonna plop it all the way down on the bottom. Then liquid pipe doesn't have to be installated or anything. Gotta save a little bit in resources here. So we're gonna come, you know what, screw it. Let's make it halfway decent. Something like this here. And then right here, we can just come, yeah, how are we gonna do this? Something like this here. Then we're just gonna plop a few airflow tiles in here. Doesn't have to be anything fancy at all. Yeah, that is not really optimal where this thing here is placed. We're probably gonna move our fish feeder over to there. And all we're gonna do is just some airflow tiles around here, and we're gonna gather some water. It's literally this simple. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy. We're gonna try to keep it as simple as possible. And as soon as this fish feeder here is moved, so we can actually domesticate our pacus right here. How are we looking, by the way? 83% on this one. 90% on this one, and 98% on this one. The problem is that they are not only eating out of the fish feeder, but they're also eating what's laying around here. So yeah, our rovers will have to do some cleaning up around here, and that should then also help out with our fish feeders. Meanwhile on Abundino, yes, all of our insulated tiles all around here are done. Only one thing is missing. At the bare minimum, temporarily, I want to block this here off as well, because it is bloody cold up here and we don't want it in this area. Of course, the dupes are picking up all this ice around here, and they're gonna bring it over here to those storage bins. Speaking of storage bins though, let's grab them and let's build us a handful more over here, because we have a lot of ice, so we will probably need more. You know what, let's put them all the way back there. I want to put all the ice in here, and we're just gonna store it on this side right here, and that should be fine. On Ingenium, we can already see the saltwater level is rising. Our second pump is active over here, and now we're just gonna dig all of this stuff here out until all of this here is one nice little saltwater lake. And then eventually we're gonna pump it all over here, just so we can put it all into this infinite storage right here. Yes, this aluminum volcano here really has a hell of a lot to do, but it is going dormant in 4.4 cycles, which means as soon as this thing here goes dormant, this thing here will fill up in no time, because we are not even going to take out those 3 kilograms per second anymore. That is a little bit unexpected. I should have probably checked it earlier before I built all of this here, but it's perfectly fine. We're just gonna fill this thing to the brim, and then we will move on. And now over here on Ughista, yes, a lot is happening. We have water here, 270 kilograms per tile. That's not too bad. Yes, we are running out of power because we have only one manual generator, which can only be operated by Jemsterr, but that is totally fine. Next on the list is this left area right here. We need to get rid of this polluted water right there. So, how about you rovers? Do a little bit of work around here. We need to dig into here, and eventually I just want to drain the water all along here until it falls down all the way back into our basin. That is the general idea, and that is of course exactly what we are going to do. So, rowers, let's unleash a tiny little bit of a waterfall around here, and we will see how that works out. At the end, the rest that is left over, we just have to mop it up and call it a day. It should theoretically be that simple. Will it be? Well, I don't know yet, but we will certainly find out. And now, before we keep on moving, here we have Jemsterr. He is cleaning up, and the rover right beside it, he's just immediately putting it into the bottle emptier. Isn't that nice? At least Jemsterr doesn't have to clean up after himself. So, let's get this here done, and then let's complete this build. Meanwhile, over here on Ingenium, yes, our aluminum volcano is now dormant, which means we have to make a couple of changes here, and that's going to be very simple. We are going to grab our snipping tool, and we're going to snip off this connection right here, and this connection right here. Then we grab a insulated liquid pipe and plop it in there. And now we can turn it back on. And we can see our salt water is retracting and accumulating, and now the water from our steam turbines is coming back over here. Yes, it's literally this simple. This is our dormant state, and it doesn't cause any problems at all. So, how long are we dormant? 50.5 cycles. Yes, so we will see each other again in cycle 692, and then our aluminum volcano will become back active, and we can get rid of more salt water. On Abundino, yes, the dupes have picked up almost everything, which means it is time to get a little bit of heat in here, and we're gonna do that with a couple of space heaters. Yeah, it's gonna be very simple. Here one, here one, here one. I'm just gonna plop in a handful all around this base here. That should be perfectly fine. The main heat, though, will be generated by our iron volcano when we are ready. For that, we need a little bit of heat. So yeah, let's plop another one in here as well. Smack that into the middle, and let's connect them all up. Where we can with normal wires, and where we don't with our heavy watt wires. Something just like this here. All of this here, of course, we're gonna rip back out. All we need to do is to get it started. And for that, we need more heat. Maybe one more space heater over here for good measure probably wouldn't hurt. Yeah, that should do. And when all of this here is in and running, we will take a look if we are actually heating up this area, and especially if all this carbon dioxide here is finally becoming, well, not solid anymore, but liquid, preferably gaseous though. That would be best case scenario, and for that, we need heat. Back over here on Ughista, yes, a lot has happened, or, well, actually better to say a lot will happen. Yes, we dug this here out, but I put in the blueprints in F2 with power. Of course, a lot of power going around here. We have our natural gas generators right here. We have gas pipes, yes, all over the place. All this here needs to be built. And as soon as this here is built, we will have a wonderful power supply for Ughista, which brings us another step closer to bringing at least one permanent dupe on here. So I'm really looking forward to that, and that is definitely going to be good. So let's check back in on Abundino over here, and temperature-wise, oh my god, yes, these two here on the top are pumping it out, but the rest, yeah, not so much. Yeah, all those tiles here at negative 65 degrees, and our space heaters are desperately fighting against it. We really don't need a lot of heat. The main heat that we need is in here. As soon as we get this here to around 0 degrees, we're golden. That is all we are aiming for. And we could actually speed up this process just a tiny little bit. But for that, let's go back into ventilation and let's grab us a vacuum pump. We're just gonna plop it right here. We're gonna grab us a gas pipe, just a standard one that's perfectly fine, and plop it right there. And then a little bit of power. Yes, that is what we need. As soon as we have this here, I will start turning this volcano here on. Or better to say, I'm not. Yeah, my god, it is actually dormant. I did not see that coming. Alright, we can analyze it then, and we can grab us here a conveyor rail, make it out of steel, and we can come along here. Yes, that is what that should look like. We're gonna come down, up, And down here on the bottom, I just connected it temporarily so we can use our auto sweeper to help us out with the conveyor loader. For that, we needed a connection, but I did not want to get our iron volcano here online. That only means one thing: it will take a tiny little bit longer than I expected, but that is perfectly fine. At the same time, we can also analyze it, so we at least know what's going on, and that is never a bad thing. So let's get this here built, and as soon as we have it, we will see if we can get a little bit more heat into this area. Back on Abondino, I have to tear out those top 2 space heaters because this large power transformer here is already overheating. My god. Yes, we pumped a lot of heat in this area here, and our large power transformer is not happy. But also in here, we are looking pretty good. Let's take a peek. We are at 6 degrees, we are at negative 18 degrees. Yeah, that is of course questionable over here, but that is still okay though, because what I did is I had the dupes put in this line right here. And yes, right here you can see it, it is wonderful polluted water. Down here I just connected it up. Yes, here it comes already, and we are just coming into our loop. We're gonna go around into our tank, and as soon as we hit our thermal aqua tuner right here, a lot of heat is gonna get dumped into this area, which means our bottle emptiers, we gotta set them to water. Number 9 priority, enable auto bottle, copy settings over to the other one, and let's go. Dupes, you really need to get some water in here, because I should have probably done that a little while ago, but well, here we are. It should still be just fine. Also, the space heater here, we won't need it anymore, we can get rid of it, so let's do that while we are at it. And everything else, yeah, should be fine. As soon as we have some water in here, we should be golden. I just need to monitor the temperature of our thermal aqua tuner here, because if I don't, it will eventually melt. It'll take a while for it to melt, but it is better to have a watchful eye on it. Okay, here we have our first water that will soak up some heat, so that should be pretty decent. Over here on the right, we have some ice that is being created, but also that should melt in no time thanks to our thermal aqua tuner. Yeah, there shouldn't be a problem anymore at all, and we should be ready to go in no time. And just as quickly as that, Amir is bringing the last 2 bottles that we need. We're gonna plop those 2 bottles in here, and then we're gonna deconstruct both of them. So let's turn up the speed just a notch here. Come on, there we go. Now deconstruct here, deconstruct there. We also have plenty of polluted water, which means in F6 we can come all the way up here and snip this line here off. We're gonna put the rest still in, that is fine, and then we're gonna tear out this entire pipe here because we don't need it anymore. And that should do it. Theoretically, that should get the job done. So, let's wait for that to happen, and then we will close this entire system here off. And now, last but not least, look at it, our thermal aqua tuner here is turned off because the temperature is at negative 8.6 degrees in our tank, which means all the water that is flowing around here is at the exact same temperature. And that is of course exactly what we want. And our vacuum pump here, yes, we now have a wonderful vacuum, which means the pump can go. In F2 we can tear all of this stuff here out, and of course all of these gas pipes here will have to go as well. And of course also the high pressure gas vent while we are at it. Now we just gotta clean up, close it off, and we should be done with it. And there it is. Everything's wonderful, everything's great, and our iron volcano here will have its next activity in 23.6 cycles, and we are more than ready for that. So let's take another look here. Yes, we are generating more heat down here. I'm gonna let this here run for a little bit longer, just to get a little bit more heat into this area here. But other than that, this is perfectly fine as it is. And now over here on Ughista, you can see it. I built a manual generator and a jumbo battery right here so we can kickstart our system. And now Jemsterr is in here and he is currently analyzing the natural gas geyser. And as soon as that is done, we are ready to start this system here up for good. And now we have it, and you can see the natural gas right here. Yes, that is of course a problem. We let it out when Jemsterr went in and out right here, but that is totally fine, because what we can do is we can just go ahead and turn this gas pump here on. When we grab us this here, yes, it is already connected properly, there's no problem. So let's turn it on and let's see what we can get out of here, because what I want is all the polluted oxygen, and unfortunately for that, some of our natural gas will have to go as well. That is just part of the game here, unfortunately, but that is totally fine. As soon as we have it all out, we will be golden from there on forward. With the help of our nifty snipping tool, I just made a tiny little change because yes, I'm gonna vent all this stuff just into space instead of into our base. That is definitely a smarter course of action. And how much more do we have left here of polluted oxygen? Not too much. Even if we lose all of this natural gas here, honestly, I couldn't care less as long as the polluted oxygen goes. That is our #1 priority, and that is definitely what we are aiming for here. So let's wait it out. And here we have it. Okay, we need to stop this here. Let's turn it off. Yes, because we can see it right here. Everything that's leaving is, of course, wonderful natural gas, and we don't want to vent that. And now that the game is properly saved, let's fix it. So right here, these two here have to be connected back to the snipping tool. We need to snip this off. We need to snip that off. We need to snip this connection off and this connection right here. Now, back to our piping. This one and this one needs to be hooked up again. And you can see it. It is built immediately because I just snipped it off, which makes our life so much more easier. All right, let's double check this here. We're going to come with our pump out into our storage. From the storage, we're going to come out with our pumps. And we're going to go over here. And this pipe right here. Yes, this one here needs to be connected as well. Yes, that is perfect. And now I would argue that should theoretically work. There's only one tiny little thing missing in base. We need to find us mesh tiles, and I need mesh tiles here, 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 not there. One further to the right, come on, right there. That's where we need it. And for right this moment, I don't really care too much. We're just gonna dig out one more row here. Yeah, you know what, let's make it 2, because all of that polluted water will just fall right here. And for right now, that's perfectly fine. Right at the moment, our goal is to get it up and running, and really nothing else matters. So let's make sure that this here works, and then we should be good to go. And here we have it. Our natural gas generator should turn on here any second now. Let's speed it up just a notch. Let's see, come on. And there we have it. Okay, now we just gotta set this here up properly. High threshold, let's make this 90 and let's make this here 10. There we go. And that should turn off here any second. And just a tiny little bit of polluted water was settled down here on the ground. Yes, that is pretty decent. There's only one little problem with this build, and there is no denying it. Right here, we have our 2 gas pumps and our infinite storage. And we have water down here. And the eagle-eyed under you definitely have noticed it already. Right here, our natural gas geyser puts out the natural gas at 150 degrees Celsius. And that is extremely bloody hot, to say the very least. So, let's deconstruct this. Let's deconstruct that. We won't need it anymore. And let's get rid of this here as well while we are at it. But back to our water problem. Eventually, this water here will overheat. And that is going to be a problem. There is nothing we can really do about it, other than hoping that when this one here goes dormant in 33.9 cycles, that it will survive that long. Because if it does, by that time, we will have a different medium and we can't just replace it. Which will also be the reason, well, I may not leave it here, but eventually I will build it again because we will have to rebuild this infinite storage one way or another. There's not a hell of a lot we can do about it because eventually it won't be an infinite storage anymore. A little bit of steam will be created, the gas pumps will suck it up, and they will put it into our natural gas generators. That is, of course, a tiny little bit of an issue, but at the end of the day, it's nothing that we can't overcome. For right now, it is perfectly fine. There's one more thing that I want to build up here, at least very quickly. In rocketry, we are going to grab us the payload opener. Yes, that is most definitely what I want. We're gonna plop it right there. And then, of course, we will also need a targeting beacon that we plop right beside it. And one last thing that we will need is in shipping, and that is our auto sweeper. And the auto sweeper, we're just gonna plop above it. And we are going to build it out of steel. Yes, because eventually it will overheat, so might as well try to prevent that as early as we can. Conductive wire, we are running low on refined metals. That is going to be a problem, but I am going to send more over from Abondino here very shortly. But for that, I really want this system right here. So, do we have enough metals to actually build a wire? That is probably the bigger issue here, not gonna lie about it. Let's see, all the way down here. Then we gotta come through here whenever this is deconstructed, all the way over to here. And we're already running very low. Let's come up to here, up to here. Let's see. 5 more tiles. Let's switch over to iron. And even iron, yeah, right here. We can just come through there, get rid of this one. At least that will connect all of this here up. And then last but not least, in shipping, we will need a conveyor rail because we also have to unload it somehow. And to unload it, we're just going to come all the way along here, over to here, and then a conveyor chute, drop it into our infinite storage. All right, yeah, that should do it. And that should help us out drastically with getting stuff back and forth much faster and easier. You can see it, I emptied out everything that we had. Well, I didn't, but our rovers did. And soon, nobody has to do that task anymore. We can just send it, it will land here, the auto sweeper will pick it up, the payload opener will open it, and then just transfer it straight over here, and we will have it available whenever we need it. It's literally this simple, and you just gotta love it. Over here on Abundino, we are still waiting for our iron volcano here to erupt, and down here we are heating this area up quite drastically. I'm gonna let it run just a tiny little bit longer because it really doesn't cost anything. Thankfully, we have all of these solar panels right here. Therefore, energy is certainly not a problem on Abundino. And on Ingenium, yes, look at this here. We were almost empty, only 3 tiles high, and now we are all the way up to 16. If that is not a house number, I don't know. That is definitely gonna be good, and our infinite storage over there will have a hell of a lot to do to hold this insane amount of water. Over here on Abundino, yes, we are putting cobalt into our conveyor loader. It's going all the way to the interplanetary launcher, and it will be fired to Ughista, where Jemsterr has finished our payload opener. Here it is, and next time around we will see what it looks like when our payload actually arrives. But that is all I have for you today, so if you enjoy my content, please subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, and of course comment down below. You know it, I'm always happy to hear from you. And with that I say thank you and peace.